Dr. Wayne Dyer once said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. You know, in any business or organisation, never underestimate the power of looking at things from a different perspective or through a different lens, a different viewpoint. Now consider, for instance, in the 1960s, when the US government spent millions of dollars developing a pen for astronauts that would work at zero gravity. And faced with the same challenge, the Russians gave their astronauts a graphite pencil. It was a simple solution that they came to simply by seeing the problem from a different perspective. And in any organisation or brand, reframing in the face of challenge is absolutely key. Looking to see whatever the issue or problem is from a different perspective. And I want to give you in this video 4 ways to reframe in business, 4 simple keys. And the first one is this: if you're going to see things from a different perspective in your business or your organisation, the first key is to step outside of yourself. I remember once working with a group of retailers who were in the electrical goods business. And of course, people who love electrical gadgets that own a store are very close to their product. They understand it intimately. And I said to these retailers, I said, when was the last time you walked into your store through the front doors like a customer who had no idea what it is you sell? What are the things that you would notice? What does it look like, sound like, smell like? What are the questions you would probably have as a novice that you might feel too embarrassed or ashamed to ask the person who's behind the counter? Because it's so critical we look at ourselves and our businesses from the perspective of those outside, see the things that they are seeing. And it's amazing when we get some distance from our own businesses, from the day-to-day, we see things that are incredibly obvious to those outside, and that can lead to some incredible innovations. The second key to reframing in any business is to leverage the power of fresh eyes. Now, it may well be a young person who's just joined the organisation or someone who's come into your industry from outside of the industry, right? But the power of people with fresh eyes is huge, because people with fresh eyes have no idea how things have always been done. They haven't got the same blinkers the rest of us have got. You know, they have no trouble thinking outside the box because they don't know what the box even looks like just yet. And people with fresh eyes see things the rest of us have missed because, again, we're so close to our businesses. We do so much on autopilot. I remember reading an example of the power of fresh eyes a number of years ago, reading some information about Delta Airlines in the US. You know, post-September 11th, Delta Airlines, like most of the airlines, were looking to cut costs. And they said to their staff, we're looking for ways to cut costs without it impacting on the customer experience. We're open to your suggestions. There was one young flight steward who had just joined Delta Airlines who noticed something. With fresh eyes, he noticed every time they cleared a tray at the end of the meal service, no one had ever touched the lettuce that was served with the meal, the lettuce liner. And so he, with the benefit of fresh eyes, asked the most obvious question to him, which was, why do we serve lettuce if no one eats it? And he asked this question of his cabin supervisor, and his supervisor said, well, it's a good question, I'm not sure. And he passed it up the chain to the point where someone within Delta Airlines could make a decision. And they decided to do something very daring. They removed the lettuce. You know, in the first year of Delta Airlines removing the lettuce from the meal service, there was not one complaint, but they saved $1.4 million. Now that's a lot of lettuce, but it's also indicative of the power of someone with fresh eyes who sees things the rest of us have missed. Now the challenge is most times when someone with fresh eyes comes into an organisation, do you know what we tell them? We say, sit in the corner. Watch how things are done around here. Once you know how we do things around here, then and only then can you offer some suggestions. And by that point it's too late. They haven't got fresh eyes anymore. The third key to reframing in any business is to foster a culture of curiosity. A culture where questions are asked. Questions are so powerful in getting us to rethink things that we just assume are a certain way because that's the way they've always been. Now consider, for instance, Rolls-Royce, who turned themselves from being a loss-making manufacturer to being one of the world's largest providers of jet engines simply because they asked a powerful question. That question was, what if airlines didn't buy jet engines for their planes, but rather paid for every hour the jet engine was being used? And that one what-if question fundamentally changed not just their business model, but the way every other business in that space operated. And the fourth key to reframing is to actively encourage dissension. It's so critical that we have an environment where disagreements are open to be shared. Peter Drucker said this, that the first rule in decision making is this: never make a decision until there has at first been some disagreement. Now, of course, for this to work in an organization or in a team, there must be a culture or an environment fostered where people feel comfortable to speak truth to power, where they feel like they can voice opinions that may well be unpopular, but nevertheless may be at the heart of creativity. Now, we were all raised being told a lie, and that lie is this: we were told that great minds think alike, and it's simply not true. Throughout history, the greatest minds have always thought decidedly unalike, not just their peers, but the prevailing wisdom of their time. You think of Copernicus or Galileo, or in modern business times, Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs. These are all people who saw the world through a different set of glasses, a different lens, and therefore they saw things the rest of us have missed. It is critical in organisations that we create space and we look for opportunities to see things from a different perspective, through a different lens, because it is at the core of innovation and creativity.